Hmm. Hello,
Realize.
everyone. Good day, everybody. It's a wonderful time to welcome you to another insightful episode of 3,600 Seconds with Industry Leaders. Of course, I'm your host, Patience, and I am so happy to introduce our special guest of the day, Alexander Conklin, sitting pretty us virtually in the studio. Alex is a practicing counseling psychologist with a passion for mental health advocacy. Well, as we all know, mental health is preserved health, right? And mental health is an increasingly important topic in today's world. With the pressures of modern day life, like the economy and every other worries surrounding us, it is very easy for us to neglect our mental well-being. But Alex is right here today to change that. With her extensive experience in clinical and mental health counseling, she's been working tirelessly to promote mental health awareness and support in Nigeria. In this episode, we'll be discussing Alex's journey as a mental health advocate, her experiences convening the Port Harcourt Same Conference and Akwa Ibom State Mental Health Conference, and her plans to expand her reach across Nigeria, even across Africa. Sit back, everyone, relax, and get ready to learn from one of the most passionate and dedicated mental health advocates in Nigeria, and of course, possibly in Africa. Let's give her a warm welcome. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Patience. I don't take this opportunity for granted at all. Thank you for the privilege. I feel honored.
Mm, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's good to have you here too. At least you are here to ensure that our brain will be balanced. By the time we are done, I believe strongly that everyone will be today very much inspired and less stressed mentally.
Uh,
Alright. We really want to know mental health take for granted, and many of them too are paying dearly for it. But
mm-hmm. That's true.
before we go to it in general, and I'm very sure our viewers too want to know what's that thing that drew your passion for your work.
Is that what that thing that drew my passion towards mental health? Was what you said?
Of course, we want to know. Can you hear us
Okay,
clearly
so
from here?
I can hear you clearly. Could you please confirm if you can hear me clearly as well?
Yes, please, I can. I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, so about what drew my passion towards mental health. It's actually very funny because it's one thing that people do not talk so much about. So I started advocacy for mental health in 2018. So if you want to count, 2018, 2025 is like how many years? Okay, let's count together. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 is about 8 years counting already. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a curious person, if you want to say, not that kind of curiosity that kills the cattle. It's not that type I'm talking about. So I'm a very curious person. So my first degree, I had my first degree in human physiology. Yeah, that's a medical sciences. So on this very fateful day, while I was in class, one of my lecturers of blessed memory was taking us in neurophysiology, neuroscience, then neuroanatomy and neurophysiology. And so I actually wanted to do cardiophysiology, that's cardiovascular physiology. But then I got interested in the whole neuroscience, particularly that neurophysiology. And that very fateful day, the day that broke the camel's back, that very fateful day, he was talking about the limbic system. And so he explained the limbic system so well. He even went as far as telling us how our environment impacts the way we think, the way we behave, and what we eat, how it impacts the way we think, the way we behave, and all of that. And so I really want to know how my environment is impacting the way I think, the way I behave. And so I went into studying. I wanted to learn what this thing all about. It was so exciting, coupled with the fact that I had a lot going on my end as well. And then I knew a lot of persons that had a lot going on their end too. But then people are not talking about this thing. Mental health didn't even occur to me like a health when I started advocating for it. I started advocating for it by just sharing stories, writing about it, studying, and then writing what I could derive from what I've studied. Getting to tell people, oh, this is like I'll just basically share a story of myself or someone else, and then I would support it with a research that I've done online, like a backup, an empirical backup to it and all. So I got to realize that a lot of persons were beginning to relate to the whole story. They could relate to the fact that, oh, maybe they've been depressed once, or maybe they've had anxiety, maybe they're currently living with PTSD, and a lot others that I was, as much as I was willing to share. And then that way I got to get talking and connecting with psychologists. Then I realized that we have a lot of psychologists who they studied psychology in school. They are out there, but nobody ever talked about what they studied. Maybe they just kept the certificates in their boxes and all of that. So I tried to realize that even in the school there when I was in my first degree, that a lot of persons graduated from psychology department, but then nobody talks about it. So what's the problem? What's the concern? Is it that people felt like it's not relevant or stuff? And then fast forward to 2019, December, November 2020, when we started hearing about COVID-19 and all of that. So the word mental health became as popular as tipping diary in Nigeria. Sorry, not like Nigeria is the poorest, but I think everybody says Gary at some point. So I just mental health 2019, 2020 was almost in
Wow.
the mouth of everybody from small to big. Nobody was forming big anymore. So I usually tell people that those years were the years that people literally sat with their devils at home. Like, you aren't going to run to anywhere. You're going to sit with your devil. And so your devil will either deal with you or help you. So, usually people just go out to work and then they could get to relate with other people, come back, sleep off. The next day, it's just a cycle. But then those years, oh my God, those years you were not going anywhere. If you have a nagging wife, you're sitting at home with your nagging wife. If you have an abusive husband, you're sitting at home with an abusive husband. If you have an autistic child, you're sitting at home with your autistic child. There's no special school that is open that you push them to. So if you have
Yeah.
a child that has ADHD, you're sitting with that child at home. You're going to make it work. If you have an hospital visit or follow-up visit, you aren't going nowhere. You're sitting down there. So mental health became the most popular word, on the global space, away from social media. Let me use that word. So it became a thing that opened up my understanding, and then coupled with the fact that a lot of persons will begin to relate to what we were talking about. I enjoyed it more because I wasn't ready to be doing the whole clinical terms and the whole medical jargons and all of that. I was trying to share the story or share the I call it impact now, or share the content as simple as possible, as lay as possible. Reason I said I used to do mental health in teaching. So if I'm teaching mental health, well, just give me 1 hour, you'll hear me speak pidgin. Because I wanted to understand down to the barest minimum. We have subclinical cases and even visible clinical cases that are affecting a lot of Nigerians. But because if
Mm.
you show up in the clinic, someone told me one day, yeah, nothing should take you to a psychiatric hospital. So I was like, why? That if you go to a psychiatric hospital, regardless of what your complaints are, regardless of what your complaints are, they would definitely diagnose you to have a mental health concern. People still have this phobia of wanting to show up, the stigma and all of that. So that's how my journey into the mental health
Mm.
advocacy began.
That's
Welcome,
quite
ma'am.
a
I'm seeing
trip.
we have a third person on the call.
Oh, yes, yes. Marcia Bata is with us now. She was having a little issue joining earlier, but she's now in here. That's my co-host. Welcome, Marcia.
Welcome, ma'am.
Welcome, Marcia. I hope
Thank you so much.
oh, beautiful, beautiful. So we've been on with our quintessential Alex, and she has really, really been owing us all along. Well, so from all what you told us, your journey so far into mental health advocacy, which many of us can easily identify with from our personal experience in life. Um, I would like to find out from you, please. How do you think mental health can be better supported or prioritized? What role do you think individuals, communities, and even policymakers can play in these efforts? Not just in Nigeria, across the continent.
Okay, so when we're talking about supporting mental health across Africa as a continent and then across Nigeria that I'm resident in, it's actually as
Hmm,
simple as wanting to hear people talk. I
hmm,
say it all of the time that everybody should be a mental health advocate, not because you have a clinical experience as to what you're talking about, but because you want people to know that you support them to seek help. You understand? So it's as simple as promoting help seeking behaviors, you talking about it, you making people understand that, oh, I'm not going to fly you because you mentioned that you're depressed. I'm not going to fly you because you mentioned that you're having an eating disorder. I could only point you to where you can seek help. But then if I cannot offer the help, I can help you get help. But going about saying that you are a weak person, I won't mention that. So it boils down to, I usually say there's a triangle, you having the knowledge of it, you having knowing what to do, recognizing the symptoms, and then having the right attitude towards it. So a triangle, having the right knowledge of it. As we're talking, a lot of persons are knowing, oh, there's something else mental health. So what is mental health about? Then you could trace the symptoms. You know what the symptoms are all about. You could recognize one if you see. You could just the same way we know when someone is behaving abnormally. The same way we could trace the mental health concerns. Certain mental health concerns do not need medical evaluations. When I mean medical evaluations, I don't mean there's no assessment. Medical evaluations in the sense that you don't need to do a blood test to ascertain it. You don't need to do a liver function test and all, except it gets very
yeah,
severe, right? So you have the knowledge of it, you can recognize symptoms, and then you have the right attitude towards it. What's the right attitude towards it? Helping other people seek help, being a mental health ally to others. So you find out that, oh, this person is really struggling. So how can I help? How can I come handy? Oh, if you need talk therapy, can I offer my ears for you to to talk? And then, like, then for policymakers, if you cannot do it, then you have to support people that are already doing it. If you cannot, come out and do the whole full support because maybe you're an engineer, so you don't know all of that. You're an artist, you're not interested in all of that and all. But you could clearly see the menace people not knowing about this concerns it's causing in our society. So why hide behind the bar when everything is glaring before your eyes? So for policymakers, you cannot do it. You have to do all your best to be behind those who can do it. And then to add, the society that we live in, I wouldn't know about other countries, but I know about Nigeria. Certain business policies, certain policies are really influencing, the mental state of individuals. Because you wake up, there's one policy that's not supporting the financial strength. You wake up tomorrow, there's another policy that's about destroying you and all of that. All of those things leads to adjustment disorder. And if you start having an adjustment disorder, just gives a matter of time, you end up with depression. And then depression, you might start having suicidal ideation and all of that. It's so sad that people get to talk when someone completes suicide because once you just hear that someone completes suicide, everybody on the media
mm,
space starts talking. Oh, you would have opened up now. You would have talked. This kind of fine boy, this kind of fine girl. After all the money you had, you still kill yourself. Mental health is not a function of
it's quite
being the
lots.
head of your clan or a local government chairman and all of that. It happens to everybody at some point. However, our recovery capital can be different. You could have a different recovery capital. I could have a different recovery capital. The better a recovery capital, the better for all of us. So the policies they are creating, I hope they're not just creating it for themselves and their family. They're creating for the better good of every individual that's resident in that country. And then I hope they are able to support persons that are already in the process of making this happen. And then lastly, on this, I told someone, I said, what would you do as a doctor who knows your problem is not medication? Probably your problem is just for you to change your lifestyle, get certain routines, sort out certain schedules and all. Would you ever trust the doctor again? Because at some point you definitely find out that, oh, this doctor is just taking my money, you know. So I would say to persons that are already the mental allies or professionals, wherever you are in the mental health professional space, that you should try as much as you want to preach acceptance, you should try and confront sometimes because whether you like it or not, a lot of persons are scared on staying on antidepressants and antipsychotics for a very long time. So if you're scared of preaching lifestyle changes to them, you're scared of preaching adjustment to them, then you might have to have them around for a very long time. And whether you like it or not, people get exhausted taking medication. And taking medications can no longer suffice. Then we have a lot of people having mental health concerns. And then is it not disheartening that as a mental health professional rather, that you keep having a patient show up all of the time? It's not disheartening to you. So I'm saying to persons that are in the mental health profession space that we should also do better. I think I've spoken enough. Thank you.
Of course, we can never be tired of hearing you speak and dishing out your wise words because this affects everyone, whether we are professionals or not, whether we are adults, whether we are children, men, women, everyone is affected. You know,
Yes.
sometimes I find it hypocritical when I see it displayed on social media. Somebody committed suicide. Some of them might even give you tips in advance. They are passing
Mm,
through it.
very
Some
wrong.
of us, they are passing through a lot, or a lot is passing through them, and the rest. But you don't know that some is serious and his mental health, his brain is badly affected. At this stage, they've already given up everything. They don't see the
Right.
point of living. And we know very well that if you don't have anything to live for, then you have nothing to die for. That's the
Of
mentality.
course.
So when they start showing the signs, some of us may see and ignore because, well, to an extent, everyone is battling, everyone
Mm,
is struggling, but some
yeah.
don't need help to others. But that doesn't mean that we cannot lean or we cannot offer a shoulder to others to lean on. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so based on this, what advice or resources would you recommend for someone who is struggling with their mental health right now, or who is looking to support a loved one that is struggling with the same mental
Struggling
health?
with them. Go ahead. Okay, so let me. I will come back to this, but let me shift a little to where you started talking about completing suicide. Now there are different stages an individual process before they even complete suicide, starting from giving suicidal gestures to suicidal attempts. One other before completing suicide. I can't remember that other now. So about giving suicide gestures, you start hearing them making certain statements. You see them start giving off things, their most cherished properties. You see them saying something like, "If I die now, are you going to miss me?" You hear them rather, "If I die, are you going to miss me? Or will you take care of my children if I leave this earth?" Certain things. Of course, suicidal ideation is an offshoot from depression. So you could literally hear them talk about their level of worthlessness, how they feel worthless, how they feel helpless, how they feel hopeless, not taking interest in what they one time found really pleasurable, and a lot more. Eating changes, sleeping routine changes, and the like. Now, all of these are gestures, all the things they do, all the things they say. Oh, stand up, let's go out. I know the mood to go out. Even down to their personal hygiene. I usually tell people, like, if you have a depressed loved one and you say you don't know, then you weren't looking very well. Because it gets as bad as someone, I'm an individual that presses my clothes a lot and I use purse. So if it gets to the point where you know very well that, oh, patient presses her clothes regardless of where she's going to, even if she's going to the market, she just press her clothes. And then 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, within that patient no longer interested in talking to you. Then it's actually a pointer. It might not be a clinical pointer, but it's a subnormal pointer to mention that this person is actually going through something that is making them shift away from that regular feel good routine. I get my point.
Yeah.
Now, for those, then when it gets to suicidal attempts, that means the person have actually drew the maps on how to end their lives. They drew the maps of what should I take? I take this one to be faster, but not take this one to be faster. Okay, how is it going to happen? What exactly, and of. And then maybe they even take it, but just that they didn't die or there was somebody that could rush them to the hospital. That's suicidal attempt. Completed suicide is you've taken whatever you want to take and you've died is dead. You just got to hear that, oh, this person died of suicide, right? Then to the next question
Yeah.
of wanting to, the main question of wanting to help people that are already dealing with mental health struggles. Like I said, for you to say, oh, um, a mental literate, you have to have the knowledge, at least the subclinical knowledge of what mental health concerns are all about. Like I said, if you can, we all have norms in the society, what we call right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so I believe see what seems abnormal to your friend, your loved ones, or whoever, you could actually point that this is not your normal self. This is not your ideal self. This is something that is either subnormal or abnormal, right? And so you could want to have a conversation with the person. And if the person is willing to open up, and even if they're not willing to open up 100%, if they could give you hints and then try to sort out and hide certain things, it's still for you to know that there's something really, really wrong. And so but the best you could do is to ask the person, should I help with your professional side? You know, the thing is, I tell people that if you don't lead the change, we cannot help you. When I mean lead the
Mm.
change, if you're not willing, I know it's tiring. If you have a mental health concern, it's really tiring to want to seek help. But if, at least let's get me that atom of I really want to seek help, even though I'm tired. I don't know how to get it. So if we can even see that one, then it's even easy to see how to come in and help the person. It's so sad that a lot of persons enjoy the attention they get from being mentally ill. I can tell you for free that a lot of persons enjoy the attention they get from being mentally ill,
Mm.
right? And
Oh,
so how
really?
can you help? You can help as far as the person wants to get help. If let's say patient, for example, is down with a mental health concern and I really want to help patients, I want to get her admitted and all. I can only do that to the degree to which she wants to get help. Because if I take her to the clinic and maybe she gets admitted and all of that, it will take a different level of commitment to see that she
Mm.
scales through her admission process till she comes out as an outpatient. I get it. It's actually pretty difficult.
Yes.
So first step first, talk to them calmly, let them know you really want to offer help, and so you know how much they really want to accept this help. That's the first step
Mm.
first. The second step is if you've checked and it's something that you as a friend can do. You know, sometimes our friends are unpaid therapists. Sometimes maybe they just need you to listen. You know, Nigerians, we have that problem of not, we have ears but we cannot listen. So let me explain how what I mean. I don't know about other African countries. I'm sorry, I keep mentioning Nigeria. I'm resident in Nigeria, so I can actually talk for my people. But if I come to
Right?
Kenya, I'll talk about Kenya. So if so sorry about that. I actually mentioned in Nigeria, but I hope with time I will get to mention this in countries too. So people can access help as much as you really. I forgot what I want to say. I hope I would remember that as we progress. And then the okay, I was going to mention our friends are unpaid therapists, and I mentioned that we don't listen. We have ears, but we don't listen. How? Let me explain. If I call you,
Mm.
I wake up one morning and then I'm feeling so bad. I really need to talk to someone. I'm not at that point. I'm not really depressed. I'm not clinically depressed. I'm just distressed. You know, being distressed. I'm being depressed. Maybe I'm just distressed. And then I call you uncle and I really want to talk to you. Maybe it was a heartbreak concern. You're like, did you know after the university, the guy asked me he's not doing it again and all of that. And the regular Nigerians, we start with like, hi, hello, sorry, child, stop crying. Then while they're about telling you sorry, they will break and say, your own is even better. He said, you know, my own, he already did introduction. So this suffering award
Thank
tag.
you.
So people don't listen. Sometimes people just want you to listen. They don't need your advice. They don't need your suggestion. All the experiences you had, they don't want to hear it. So, but then when you come in and start telling them how your 25 years experience comes to play and all, it does one thing to them. They move back into their shell. They're like, this doesn't understand what I'm saying. The truth is, you cannot understand everything anybody is saying. You might have a fair share of it, but that doesn't mean you understand the extent to which it has dealt with them mentally before they decided to open it. And then
Mm.
thirdly, if the person is already seeing a mental health professional, the best you can do for the person is to support self-efficacy. That's the already existing goal because they've
Mm.
accepted to, you know, see a professional. And then the next is to continuously fill their um discrepancies. Like if you don't do this, you know what will happen. Maybe the person is a career person. You just have to keep telling them, come to think of it, you want to be a banker. If you come down with a psychotic condition, you think you'll be a banker anymore. All of those things is just to offer support to make sure the person keeps going for their visits and all of that. To support the person's visits, support medical adherence, Because some person might be placed on medication, but then they will come up with the whole story of, I don't like taking medications, I'm tired of it. So the best thing to do is to keep supporting them. Maybe not really pampering them. That's why I mentioned discrepancies, but you just have to support them. And then lastly, for individuals that want to support persons already dealing with mental health conditions, is you should look out for your own mental health. You know, the same way we say aura for aura, energy can be contracted and all. Yet, if you argue with me, post on your socials that if you're depressed, call my number. Give you just 5 persons that are depressed to call you. You start looking like you're depressed. Is that feeling like you are depressed? Because the whole thought, if you're not careful, you can start processing it yourself. So best bet, while you're trying to look out for persons that are mentally low or down, you should really, really, really look out for yourself. Look out for yourself. Look out for yourself, not rubbing it on their faces, but making sure that you get respite as well. Because that respite is very important. Of course, we have caregivers burnout. So you could actually have caregivers burnout. We have a lot of persons in the clinic who have been forgotten, some have been disturbed, but nobody speaks to them. So you hear something like,
So true.
them, they're living steady, I'm resting. I'm resting. Everybody gets exhausted at some point. So try not to be exhausted. And if at any point you are getting exhausted, then you need help and not die helping others. I hope I've said enough. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that
um,
you that's a very strong, that's a very strong point you made. You know, there's, there was something I heard some time ago, and it really touched me. It made a lot of sense. And I think all of us can stream it and also invite it to our personal lives. They said you cannot pour out of an empty cup.
An empty cup. Yeah,
So you can't pour out of an empty cup. You have to fill yourself first.
true, true.
That is it. So the caregiver also needs to be taken care of.
That's right.
Like I said earlier, everyone is struggling, but the fact that one person is strong enough to bear the burden of another doesn't mean everything will be left for him or her alone to carry.
Exactly,
Mental
exactly.
health is everyone's responsibility. Mental health care is for everyone.
It's for
So
everyone. True.
while let's just say, for instance, when we have our loved ones who are sick, especially those ones battling with acute illnesses like cancer, kidney failure, the
True.
toll it takes on one's emotions mentally. You are watching your loved one, and every day you keep checking at the calendar. Will he die today? Will she die
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow? Even if they are sleeping, you are checking periodically to be sure that they are
Your
breathing.
panic is always there.
Yeah, I think that should also fall into the mental health issues we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So the caregiver is taken care of as well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
So
there's
before
someone
we,
on the call wanted to say something. I didn't get her
oh
name. Yes,
yes,
go ahead.
Masia Bata.
oh well, I wanted to touch on mental health awareness.
Okay.
You know, you mentioned something about culture and norms,
Yeah.
and in Africa, mental health is not really of
Mm-hmm.
significance. We don't talk about. I mean, we have the issues, but we are not aware that they're actually of paramount.
Yeah.
So, what are measures can be put so that we are aware that there's this factor that is called mental health,
Good.
so that we open, yeah, and so that we get help. Because if we do not have any knowledge about this, then we're not going to get help.
True.
So in Africa, we have to tackle the cultural background, the norms, the beliefs, the values, all that.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to meet everyone in all different societal groups?
Okay. If I got that right, you said how do we increase awareness, or what do we do so people get to know that this is not just a cliche, this is not a Gen Z word, it's something that has been happening. Okay, so what I would say is keep talking about it. I believe we have psychiatrists in your country. I believe we have psychologists in your country. I believe we have social workers in your country and all of that. They are at the forefront of the happenings of or the impact. They've seen the impact of mental health concerns and conditions in their different workplaces. So if they do not come to the forefront and talk about it, then practically there's nobody that's going to do the talking to them. And then I could bet you that what people or what our leaders or what our family members, our friends could relate to more as mental health concerns are not the admission cases. Everybody knows we have psychological vagrants, social vagrants, and then those that are beyond themselves, people who have come down with schizophrenia and the like. People know that people hear voices. People know that people see things that are bizarre. People know that people have tactile hallucinations. They know these things. I mean, on the
Mm.
periphery, like they know that these things happen, but they do not put it into consideration that they could be mental health concerns. So how do they know? People that know better should do better by talking about it. When people say I advocate for mental health and all of that, it's not because I'm the best knowledge wise in Nigeria to talk about mental health, but because I keep talking. So people cannot refer to someone they've never seen talk about. So they refer to who they see talk about it all of the time. So like I mentioned, on in places like this social media, what will bring people to you more to understand or tend to get is putting the medical jargon aside and giving the most visible symptom that you can give us possible. So I wouldn't know if you're a mental
Mm.
health professional. So if you want to continuously with awareness in your country, start from the top normal, top clinical concerns. People can relate to it. People know what it feels like being distressed to the extent that you don't feel like eating. People know what it feels like having sleepless nights. People know what it feels like having a heartbreak. People know what it feels like, how they feel when they lose someone. People know how they feel when they start having nightmares. People know. People know how they feel 3 months after they were raped. People know how they feel
Mm.
6 months after things were stolen from them. People know how maybe someone was feeling, someone in their family was not feeling fine, like patient mentioned, having severe physical health concerns. They knew how it affected their minds when they stayed and how they saw this person die and all of that. They knew all of those things. It's just that we are giving it plenty clinical names, and so they don't want to, people don't want you to come to them and say, you see, you have PTSD. They want you to come and say, this thing you are, maybe you need to see a professional, not to take medication, but maybe anything help you come out of how you're feeling. At that point, they have a human touch to what you are feeling. Are you getting my point? They have a human touch to it. So people get to
Exactly.
pull closer to you, knowing that you understand more of how they feel than all of the medical jargon you have to say to them. So reason
Yeah.
when some persons talk about health and they try to share these concerns in the most common way. If you're a professional, you're like, how do this relate it? But this thing is even more serious than you just explained. But because you didn't explain it to put some kind of fear in them, so they just have to tag along. So sometimes and always talking about mental health concerns, whether you like it or yes, until it is deep into their ears, they will not know about it. So you keep talking about it, you don't get tired talking about it. That's why it's more of a passion thing because the period while you're advocating for it, nobody's going to give you money. Nobody's dash even 10 years, 20 years after. Because it's not entertainment. Entertainment is like the in thing in Africa. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's not entertainment, it's not fashion. This is something that is very important that people are overlooking. So you start with mentioning to
Mm.
them, you make them see the differences. Although you at some point you have to roll with the resistance. Now, I was telling some young boys the other day, like, don't consume drugs. You have a lot of people in the clinic that you don't even know if they can come out of what they are. And then they will tell you, I don't have persons that are smoking more things that I'm smoking and all. So, yes, you roll with their resistance, but you have to keep proving those discrepancies. You have to keep telling them that if you don't come down with a mental health condition, you definitely will come down with a physical health condition with the way you are going. You mentioned to them about anger. And so they tell you, anger is a normal emotion. Yes, I get angry. Anger is a normal emotion. But then you tell them where to draw the line. So you explain to them, now let's look at the extremes. So at this point, both of us are angry. But you now, you broke television. I did the same thing. It's not a point that your own anger has gotten out of hand. So like I said, it's for people to get to relate with what you are saying, not even about the medical jargon. So if you're into awareness, mental awareness, you have to keep talking. You have to keep supporting. You have to keep giving. It's you giving back to Mother Earth. You have to keep giving until people have come to the knowledge that this is actually a thing and they want to key in into your voice. Maybe they might not know how to talk about it, but then they can buy you mic to go live and talk about it. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
I love
I
that.
mean, it's a very important,
Thank you.
yeah, a very important point that she raised there about advocacy and awareness. I mean, advocacy, I agree, it can combat the notion of witchcraft. You know how much we like blaming witchcraft. You know, you mentioned that sometimes a person may hear sounds in their head, and then we start saying so and so has bewitched them. You know,
Good. So it happened in your country too. I was thinking it's only Nigeria. Okay.
yeah,
Everywhere.
Okay. Well, please go ahead. Sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
It's a common thread humans have. So, viewers, there's
yeah,
something we've not told you about Alex. She is the founder of Mental Health Plus and Sana Limited, an organization that is devoted to helping Nigerians and subsequently Africans. Don't worry, our brothers and sisters across Africa, Alex is coming gradually to you. Alex, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You? I have to say yes to everything.
okay, so by virtue of this organization, she has been convening a lot of impactful conferences, events and conferences that has been helping people to shape their mindsets, take things easy in life, no matter how stressed they are. And of
Wow.
course, where they receive free counseling. One of such conferences coming up soon in Port Harcourt. And okay, let me not say I'm reliably informed. A little bird from heaven told me that it is called Sane Conference. So, Alice, can you tell us more about the Sane Conference coming up soon in May? That should be on the 10th, right?
Yes, please.
So, please tell us like, the event, the team, your expected guests, and all what we need to know.
Okay, so let me say good evening once again from Nigeria. Okay, so about the same conference. Same conference is an annual mental health awareness conference. It started last year. We've been prior to this time, we've been having workshops, virtual workshops, you know, art therapy sessions, physical therapy sessions, and all just in small scales as much as I could afford. So last year we thought of making it a bit bigger, so we have more persons. Actually, it's a ticket-free event. Like it's a free event. And some persons want to say,
Mm.
organization is not an NGO, so why are you doing free events? My dear brothers and sisters, I wanted to register as an NGO, but when they told me the price from 280, I ran.
Because Nigeria is not
when
for
they told
faint-hearted.
when they told me
True.
when I made the inquiries on how to register as an NGO, and then so we was like, why would it be so expensive compared to registering a private liability company? We're like, you don't have money you want to do NGO. I say, okay, no problem. But yeah, let me register as something else. I just needed to get it registered. So I did that because I didn't have the money at the time to register as an NGO. However, it didn't change our perspective about what we intend to do. The ideology, the whole passion, the whole dedication is about raising awareness about mental health. So regardless of the name, the thing is we are continuously raising awareness about mental health. And so you see our mission, you say to inspire a widespread shift, about mental health practices, how to manage the triggers, how to recognize one, and how to live holistically. And so about same conference last year, we started on that same conference. And then I was like
Mm.
same sanity, like sanity, that's same conference. And so someone asked me, so what's not the team? Initially, I was like, oh, it's same conference now. It's not same conference. And I asked me, so I said, oh, it's well-being. Last year was well-being. So this year is calm. Yeah, I don't ask me how I got to get that team. I don't know. This year is calm. This year's conference happening on the 10th of May. It starts calm. Last year's Akwa Ibom State Mental Health Awareness Conference was tagged initiate. Initiate because sometimes it has to come as a starter pack. And so if we don't start it, we cannot sustain it. So we just have to start it
Mm.
regardless. And so it has not been easy financially. It has been starting. planning and everything, it has been really, really, really a lot. You know, when you're doing something that is not in the ears of everybody, so you just have to do what you have to do, knowing that you're making impact. Because I've had a lot of persons say, "Why you're not putting a ticket? Even if it's 1,000 naira, no." I said, well, if I put a ticket to it, then the persons that really need to hear this discussion won't be able to access them. Did I say I don't love money? I love money, but at the
Who
moment,
doesn't?
money is not what we're looking out for. We want people to know that mental health is a part of health. It's as important as a physical health. And this year we're going to be looking at a lot. We're going to be looking at trauma. We're going to be looking at we all have mental health. That's our keynote for this year. We all have mental health. Because I've worked in two places and I'll be like, if you have mental health, there is your hand. And everybody's keeping their hands down. I'm like, did I say if you have madness? Because when you say you have mental health, just want to say, when you say if you're mad, everybody will just keep their hands down. So we all have mental health. We're going to be dealing with addressing trauma from childhood experiences to PTSD in adults. We're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at somatization disorders. Yeah. So that'll be taken by a psychiatrist. A lot of us have heard this word psychosomatic illness. It is a thing. It is real. It is a thing and it is real.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of people. And you cannot take away their experiences from them. It is their story, it is their
Yeah.
experiences. You cannot take it away from them. So we'll also be looking at the rise of isolation. Yeah, I cannot
Mm,
talk of all the food topics, but I know we're looking at something, the rise of isolation, and we'll also be looking at journaling for mental health. Journaling for mental health.
mm,
We'll be looking at, I'm trying to remember one other one. But whatever happens, keep tabs on our platforms or my page. You see them as they unfold. So about people that are going to take this topics, they are mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, persons with lived experiences and all. I usually don't sit during conferences. I just allow other people to sit because sometimes it's so stressful for me from planning to finance and everything. And so I really don't have time to prepare anything. So I just allow people to do the teaching. I sit and learn as well. So don't think you're coming to learn from me alone. You're going to learn from experts in the field. And so it could be
mm.
an an amazing time, breaking the stigma about mental health, self stigma, and all of that. When I go for business conferences, I tell them sometimes we forget that we are human. We forget the whole us, like WHOLE. We just remember the business part of us. So your boss is going down with depression or burnout. You have people in the clinic who their original concern, their burnout concern, but because the burnout wasn't looked into, and so now they are currently battling with psychotic features. But it started out burnout. It started as stress, onset of stress, then burnout, and all of that. And now you say you're hearing voices, you say you're using matcha to chase people away from the house and all. So, but if we know better, we can do better, and then we can salvage the situation together.
Wow, that is really brilliant, Alex. I mean, you have touched on very important topics that are going to unpack in the conference.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, how then do we care for our mental health?
Okay, as individuals, how do you care for your mental health? Now, it is important for we to note that mental health content could be biological, could be result factors rather, biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors. And so sometimes some of which we cannot control, which are basically organic or what you want to call biological. Maybe in the cases where there's a family history of a mental health concern, and so you unfortunately got to be the one to deal with the brunt, right? However, the social part that influences even our psychological thought and all, is that we need to relearn, we need to unlearn, and we need to learn over and over again things that are working and things that are not working for us. Particularly, I thought that sometimes it starts from our coping mechanisms. I have coping mechanisms. I believe you have coping mechanisms as well. And so there are certain coping mechanisms that served us 15 years back or 10 years back that currently seems like they are problems for us. So at that point, you need to either relearn a new one or make do with another one. That means you have to discard this other one. Some at that point, they were really good, they were helping us, but now it's serving as a trauma response that's really hurting us and doing a lot more like other stuff, right? Then the next, your sleeping routine. I keep saying it. Sleep is the only way the brain gets to the top. Is when the category of people that say you sleep 2 hours, you die poor. Then just wait. You might have the money, I don't know what to use it for. That's if you have the money at the end of the day. There are persons who, let me even give you a very clear example. Not even, there's no need saying their person. A very clear example. If you go for a video, for persons that are church a Christian, you go for a video today, you didn't sleep till 6. You go for video the next day, you didn't sleep till 6. How will you behave? Today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. By Saturday morning, how do you think your body reacts? Can you tell us how your body reacts, Lily? How do you feel? Do you feel all goofy, or do you feel really tired and maybe everything is not going well? No, you ask yourself. If you don't sleep for 3 days or even one day, if I go for a video today and they close in the morning and I didn't get time to rest, I just wake up and go about my day. Just give me from now to 11 I'll start misbehaving. Misbehaving is not like I'll start running around, but I'll start feeling drowsy, tired, sluggish, being less productive. So you now imagine not sleeping for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You are about killing yourself. Sleep is the only way your brain gets to reset. And obtaining 6, 7, 9 hours of sleep, 7 max 6 is still okay. It's very possible. It is very, very visible. It is doable. And so sometimes people will say I have insomnia. My love, it's not really a clinical concern insomnia. It's just that it's a habit you groomed over time. Because if I was in school, when I was in school, I usually wake up by 3 a.m., 5 a.m. to read my books. Till today, whether my alarm is on or not, by 2:45, something must wake me. Somehow I'll get to wake up. So it's a grooming thing. We've groomed our mind. So the same way you groomed your mind to waking up and not sleeping, regroom your mind. It's going to take a longer time, but you have to do it anyway. Regroom your mind to start sleeping. It is very important. Rest is very important. And then the next is the kind of food you eat. Nutrition. There's something they call comfort fooding, and then there's something they say eat food that loves you. Yes, it is a thing. Eat what loves you. It's not everything you do about eating and drinking. For example, alcohol is legal. There's at least to the best of my knowledge, they have not placed a ban or tagged alcohol as illicit at the moment. Even they don't have age recommendations and all. And so you know very well that you usually experience harmful intoxication. And if you will take 1 cup, you're okay. If you take 1 cup, you're inside the gutter. And you will still take, all of those things. So lifestyle changes is very important. Exercise is very important that you involve in exercise.
Mm.
Exercise makes you the feel good that you want. People that are addicted to sex and drug, they get this cheap dopamine and all of that. Exercise is good for you. The nearest example I can give to you is if you have a goal, or even if you don't have a goal, like you start with the gym, there's this level of confidence you tend to have. There's this excitement and all. That is the hormone that we're talking about. That exercise helps you to take and feel good hormones, dopamine, serotonin, and the feelings. So exercise is very, very important. And then one more thing that we need to, all of us here on this call and those that will listen later, you are connected to a higher power, what we call God in Christianity. I don't know how to call it in another religion. What we call God in Christianity. You have to continuously connect to that higher power. You've not done this life before. So you need to lean to someone or the supreme being that can guide you through the life. Reason even in practice, there's something as faith-based intervention currently. Because we've come to realize that certain persons' medications cannot even help them. So you just have to hold God. If you see the hem of his garment, if I hold if I hold the hem of God's garment, it will tear because I'm so drunk. So you have to be very intentional about connecting to your higher power. It's very, and
Uh,
then another thing I would like to say is purpose. There's something you knowing why you on this earth does for you. It gives you the courage to keep going. It gives you the strength to keep pushing, regardless of what you make. So find that why and stick to it very well. If you ask some people that are very wealthy that are not in their why, they will tell you they really wish they were working in their why. Reason you see some people doing certain things that they not like they have mansions out of it, but they just enjoy doing it. And so if you enjoy doing that your why, the best for all of us. I've mentioned about 5 or 6. Should I still continue mentioning it? And then one more thing. Reduce the intake, how you embrace, reduce how you embrace bad news.
Oh
Reduce
yeah.
how you bad news. If it's coming from your channels, wherever it's coming from, you have to cut it out. Because whether you like it or yes, it may be forming ideas in your head that you don't even know. Reason if someone completes suicide now in Nigeria, give us 1 week, three more people will complete another suicide.
Exactly,
Because it's
exactly.
heard. And then you start hearing people saying there's a spirit of suicide hovering. There is no spirit hovering anywhere. It is psychological. It is psychological that I've heard that this person did. Oh, you know, I'm saying, yeah, now make all of us go rest. No, it is a very psychological thing because you do not know the audience that are listening to this thing. Sadly, some journalists don't have the ethics as to which they can broadcast this stuff. You know, you don't know who is listening, you don't know who is struggling, and then you just affirmed to what they've been wanting to do. You just added fondant to the cake. You just iced it and said, okay, go and do it. You know, so you have to limit the way you accept bad news. And then if you have a kind of personality, understand your personality and work on it. Nobody is a perfect or a not perfect person, including myself that's talking. So, but then if you understand your personality, you can work towards it and make yourself better and not wanting
Hmm.
to revolve around a cocoon that someone has set for you or another person or you set for yourself. Because of course there's self stigma and all of that. So you have to work on your personality daily. The things you need to change, you change. You renew your mind the way they renew the mind. The scripture says it. Other people, I believe, Buddhists too practice the whole yoga and affirmations and mindfulness and all of that. Yes, they do it. It's psychological. And then lastly, before I cut on that, I'm sorry if you're not a Christian on this call. I'm so sorry I'm a Christian, but I'm culturally sensitive as well. So there's a portion of the Bible that if you faint in the days of adversity, that means your strength is what small. I love the way Message
Yeah.
Bible puts it. Message Bible says, if you fall into pieces in the days of crisis, that means your strength is weak. In
Hmm.
psychological therapeutic approaches, there's something we call dialectical behavioral therapy. On dialectical behavioral therapy, the center of that therapy is distress tolerance. They train you on how to manage distress. And so it might interest you to know that in managing distress, you have to have the skill before the distress shows forth. Are you getting it?
Hmm.
The first
Wow.
time I had
Yes.
a very severe headache, I thought I was going to pass out. It was not typhoid that was dealing with me. I had a very severe headache, like my head, all of my head was literally paining. I was calling my friend saying, I'm going to die. You right? You should pray for me.
Wow.
So, but after that period, over time, I've had that kind of headache. But once it comes, I know why it is coming because I've had that experience. So you don't throw your experiences to waste. You pick them
Hmm.
up, refine them for the future ahead. The reason I said the crisis you're waiting for to happen, you have to start building the skills to manage them before they come. That's why since a couple of days I've been thinking on that scripture like if you faint in the days of adversity, that means your strength is small. That means you build the strength the day before the adversity arrives. I don't want to
Hmm.
take thank you very much.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
That's the book of Proverbs. Yes, that's true.
It's actually the book of Proverbs. So thank you.
Wow.
It's in the book of Proverbs. Come across that, and that's a practical advice. Nobody should joke with it for us to balance our mental health. You're right. While we struggle to balance, take up responsibility as individuals, and also collectively trying to care for our loved ones, we should not fail to take from the real source of energy, the greatest source of energy, being
That's
our
it.
grand creator. In all, He's going to work with us, work
Wow.
through or help us through it. And sometimes all He needs to help us with is just some advice, like the scripture that Alex just quoted. Let's have that in mind. So, well, dear viewers, it's been a small time with Alex, right? I'm sure everyone is really enjoying. It's as if we shouldn't let her go. But every
Thank you.
sweet melody must have an end. So that's all the time we have for
Maybe
today's
not an
episode.
end, just a comma.
Definitely, definitely. All right, so that's all we have for today. We sincerely thank Alex for coming here to share an inspiring story, expertise with us. Alex, your passion for mental health advocacy is truly contagious. And I'm sure
Thank you.
our audience has been inspired by your dedication and commitment to this important cause. Before we go, I would like to remind our audience that mental health is everyone's responsibility. We cannot
Of course.
emphasize this enough. We can all play a role
Absolutely.
in promoting mental health and mental well-being, supporting those who may be struggling. No one succeeds in isolation. If you
Mm-hmm.
have been inspired by all what Alex has shared with us today, then I encourage you to take action, please. Reach out to a friend or a loved one who may be struggling with their mental health or considering supporting Mental Health Plus and Sena Limited, especially in view
Support
of
our
the
community.
conference. Oh, yes. It is an organization, like I mentioned earlier, it's an organization that is founded and actively led by Alex to promote mental health awareness and support for everyone out there, regardless of your age grade, your gender, your status in society. Everyone needs a shoulder to lean on, and they also need a
Yeah.
hand to hold in their down days. Okay, so finally, I would like to thank our audience. Without you, there will be no us.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for streaming live to join us today. And we encourage you to please show some love us by continuing this conversation on LinkedIn and other social media sites using the hashtag, okay? Hashtag 3,600 seconds, hashtag Sane Conference 2025. Who would like to stay up to date with our show, please, we also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on various social media accounts where you will easily spot, in the chat section where these links are dropped. Okay, so you check the chat section wherever you're streaming from. If you're streaming from LinkedIn or from YouTube, please check the comment section later. Okay, the available links will be dropped there. Do you have any feedback to share with us? Please, you want to do that privately, we welcome you. You can reach us through Executive Media Africa on LinkedIn, or you can even approach Marcia Bata and I privately on LinkedIn through um, direct messaging. So until next time, please, dear viewers, dear Nigerians, dear Africans, please take care of your mental health. Stay inspired, stay motivated. Remember to prioritize your mental health, your mental well-being. And remember to attend Sane Conference 2025 on the 10th of May this year. It will be streaming in a hybrid manner. So wherever you are in Africa is no excuse. You can join us.
Yeah.
Okay? You can join us virtually. Join in and learn and also benefit from the program, the rich program that is coming up. We all must take care of our mental health this year. Enough is enough for stress. Okay, my dear ones, from all of us in the studio, from Alex, Masay, and I, we say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.